controversy kicked off last week in Lisbon when Vinícius Júnior scored the eventual game-winning goal in Real Madrid's first leg win over Benfica. Now, the Brazilian dances led to a yellow card and reactions from Benfica supporters and midfielder Gianluca Prestianni, who could be seen saying something to Vini Júnior while covering his mouth. Now, Vini immediately reacted by telling the match official that Prestianni made racist comments, which led to the match being stopped due to racism protocols. UEFA immediately opened an investigation into the incident, but with the final decision potentially taking up to 3 weeks to reach, UEFA has decided to provisionally suspend Prestianni for today's second leg in Madrid. Now, UEFA issued a statement that said in part, quote, the UEFA Control, Ethics and Disciplinary Body today decided to provisionally suspend Mr. Gianluca Prestianni for the next UEFA club competition match, for which he would otherwise be eligible for the prima facie violation of Article 14 of the UEFA disciplinary regulations related to a discriminatory behaviour. Benfica has responded to the suspension by appealing, with Prestianni travelling to Madrid with the club. Through the suspension is not expected to be overturned. Benfica manager José Mourinho has also not addressed the situation and has chosen not to speak to the media ahead of today's match. OK, then, everybody, we're going to be speaking to Guillem Balagué, our CBS Sports football correspondent, who was over at Benfica in leg one. He's now at the Bernabeu. Guillem, thank you very much for joining us. You covered leg one ever so well, so we thought, why don't we come to you to talk about tonight and also the suspension of Gianluca Prestianni. Are you surprised that it's taken this long, or are you surprised by the one-game suspension? What are your thoughts on it?
I'm actually surprised that UEFA, that tends to do things very, very slowly, have taken this step of giving a provisional suspension to Prestianni. The ones that still defend Prestianni, of course, Benfica, Rui Costa, the chairman, who spoke this morning to the media, they will say that there is no evidence. You cannot see anything. What UEFA put together is the reaction of Vinícius, the words of Mbappé, even the reaction of Prestianni himself, who at some parts looked like he was guilty, he didn't defend himself, and the reaction of his teammates. All that has been put into a bag, and what has come out of it is that there are indications on a first look that something went wrong. So he's been applied that suspended one-match ban for discriminatory behavior. What we need to find out is exactly what was said. There is two schools of thought. One, of course, what Vinícius said, that he was a monkey. And apparently Prestianni told his teammates, according to Tchouaméni on the night, that he wasn't that. That they called Vinícius an homophobe word. In either case, it could be up to 10-match ban because it's discriminatory language. So I think UEFA have sensed where the win is, sensed that, as Arbeloa said today in the press conference, and Courtois as well, we'll hear Benfica later on, they said it's a good opportunity, it's a great opportunity for UEFA to put their authority where their mouth is. It's one thing to say, let's stamp out racism. This is an opportunity to do something about it, they feel.
Guillem, I'll tell you now, I was a little bit confused as to how I was going to approach this today, but I want to talk about it from the Mourinho aspect. I don't want to give the other individual any credence because I don't really give those sort of people any credence or any value. So I want to talk about the Mourinho aspect. And he holds a lot of weight within football, which you know and I know and all of us sitting on this desk know. How much credibility has he lost in terms of his initial reaction to the news and the outbreak and the defence of the club rather than addressing the incident?
If you want to calculate the credibility that he's lost, the words that have been put against him, go to Benny McCarthy, a big pro-Mourinho fan. Obviously, he was his player at Porto. And he's always defended him, not on this occasion. Benny McCarthy said he got it wrong. Vincent Kompany, he had a 12-minute speech about what had happened and why Jose Mourinho got it wrong. You heard Pep Guardiola, you heard Thierry Henry, like Richards. It's quite clear that football says you cannot use Eusebio to justify what it is potentially a racist insult. And you cannot link two things that completely belong to different spheres. You cannot leave the celebrations. If you don't like them, Vinícius can get a yellow and then debate it for those games you don't know. That belongs to the rules of football. But an insult, an abuse of any kind, that belongs to the sphere of the law, of the civil law. Completely different things. And what Mourinho did is put some dots for people to make the assumption that the Vinícius celebration provoked the response that he got. That's where he got it absolutely wrong. But I'll tell you something else. Vincent Kompany told us one thing, which I think he's absolutely right. He says it would be great to have an area, which is not a black and white, an area where people can apologize, an area where people can say, I got it wrong, right? This is where Mourinho can actually enter. Instead, at the moment, what he has done is didn't do the press conference before the game at the weekend against ASV, only said that it was difficult for everyone, including himself, since the minute 50 of the Benfica Real Madrid game. He's not going to do the press conference in 45 minutes. He obviously has to decide if he's going to be at the Bernabeu or not. We don't expect him to do the press conference after the game. So he's keeping himself away from it when there is still, I think, we will accept that there will be still an area in which he can say, I got it wrong. Let's see if he does. And if he doesn't, if he insists on the idea that, Prestianni didn't do anything wrong, Eusebio and celebrations, then what he has lost is not just credibility. He's lost something much bigger than that, I think.
Guillem, it might be a difficult thing to calculate, but there's no question this really ugly incident has overshadowed anything else that happened during the game. What effect, if any, do you think it will have on the game tonight?
So Prestianni has trouble, and he will be somewhere in the stadium or in the hotel, because we don't think UEFA is going to overturn, as Hannah said, the suspension. That takes venom, if you like, or tension out of it. I think that's what UEFA wanted as well. They didn't want to see the pictures of people not shaking the hand of Prestianni, who would have started. So that's gone, and one match ban allows them to then decide what to do next. So we kind of refocus our attention into football. We asked Arbeloa in the press conference how Vini was feeling, and I know that Seedorf, after the game in Lisbon, went into the post of Real Madrid, where Vini was sitting on his own, and he was affected, he was down, and Seedorf told Vini, don't take this on your own. We're here to help you. This is not just for you to take on your own. But he saw how affected him, how affected the whole thing was Vinícius. We asked Arbeloa, and he was saying that he's okay, he's happy, he's strong. It's a fight that I'm adding that Vini has taken because others didn't, and that, of course, has got its consequences. But the closer we get into the game, I think the more we're going to talk about the game. I know that Benfica keeps defending the player, keeps defending the position. Their attitude towards the racism in the stands is invisible. They haven't mentioned anything. I know they're trying to investigate who these people are. Quite clear who they are, where they sit, but they haven't done anything about it, which is alarming. But in any case, that seems to be taking a backseat at the moment, with a little of the conversation to Arbeloa and Courtois in the press conference being about the incident, but a little bit about the football game as well.
Guillem, we talk about Vini, and not just in this game, but at the weekend, right, against Osasuna. I mean, it's been reported that Osasuna fans and different fans in the stands were chanting, "Die Vini." And then in the Premier League and all across the world, it just seemed to be a maddening weekend of just racist abuse and players really going through it. So at this point, what changes can we have, or what changes can be done to stop this? Because it's sickening. It's sickening. And JayDee, you and I talk about this all the time.
There's no
something
changes.
Something has to stop.
What changes do you want to see? Like, go on, Guillem.
Let me just say what happened in Pamplona has happened in a lot of pitches in Spain. They feel a weakness in Vini, and they think they can provoke him. It wasn't racist, but it was abuse from the stands. It happens almost in every stadium, every football match. It's not right, but it's not racist. In any case, though, the victim of what's happening, 20 cases of racism have been reported by La Liga, is Vini. When somebody reports a case of racism or discrimination, the first thing you have to have is empathy and listen to the person and support him. Obviously, the fans of Osasuna did not do that. And then, as you said, there was incidents in the Premier League. It's all about keeping at it, I think. And that's what Vini's trying to say. I think he felt since he was a kid that the world was hostile. So instead of being quiet, he's gone and fight it. Because he's the only one that's been fighting it recently. He's getting all the stick and all the heat. He seems strong enough to deal with it, even though we've seen him cry in a press conference. and I'm sure it affects him. But others seem to be joining in. And I don't know if this does anything in terms of being positive about it, but 6 months ago, only 6 months ago, when he was abused at Oviedo, the debate in the Spanish media was, he provoked. This week, nobody said because he provoked, he got this. Is that an advance? I think it is. In Portugal, the debate is now, he provoked. I wonder if, with the discussions we have in and this as well, and the clips are going to come out in social media, in 6 months' time in Portugal, they'll say, we got it wrong. Provoking is one thing, completely different sphere to abuse. So we keep debating it. Isn't that one of the ways to moving on and sorting it out?
Guillem, if you look at the actual match itself, do you see Benfica turning this around?
It's going to be difficult because Benfica, even though they didn't get a very good Real Madrid, they weren't better than Real Madrid. Real Madrid showed against Osasuna that if they're not in the game, and sometimes in the league they're not at it, they're easily beaten. But then the Champions League comes, and you've seen it, Jeff, so many times. They just look taller, bigger, faster. They go for it. The team is going to be more or less the same. Carvajal was a mistake to bring him on. Trent is going to come back in. And then the midfield will be the usual one with Gula in front of a wall, of Tchouaméni, of Camavinga, of Valverde. But you do have, on one hand, Vinícius wanted to make an impact. He's now the leader of the team. At the moment, Mbappé is struggling, and that's the second thing. Mbappé is struggling physically. He's struggling. He's not 100% ready for the game. But I think they have enough at the Bernabeu, where the pressure is going to be on Benfica to perform, with a Real Madrid that actually will have the fans with them. Just cannot see it any other way that Real Madrid taking advantage of the 1-0 up that they've got and continue scoring and win the game.
Guillem, thank you very much for all the information. Enjoy the game tonight and
enjoy the sunshine, mate.
Enjoy the sunshine, and hopefully we'll see football take centre stage today. Thank you, Guillem. Let's quickly just talk more about this Real Madrid side. We're going to be seeing no Jude Bellingham and no Rodrigo. He's out for 2 games, serving a red card suspension. Like Guillem just said, look, they're at the Bernabeu, they're playing in the Champions League, what they know best. But do you think there is, also with the Mbappé situation as well, he's not fully fit. Do you think there is some margin for worry for these Real Madrid fans, or do you think they can take it tonight against Benfica?
I mean, we didn't see Benfica offer a lot when they were at home, did we?
Yeah.
So I can't see that narrative changing particularly. And also, I mean, Guillem made a fairly compelling case there, didn't he? Not to see something... I didn't see enough spark from Benfica to suggest they would turn this around.
Forget football for a second. If you're my teammate, and you watch me go through that level of abuse, right? And then you watch me on the weekend, the opposition fans utilise that abuse and then go and turn around and tell me to die, I'm going to tell you now, we are going to go out there and we're going to send a message tonight. Yeah. That team talk, that conversation that they have, they're about to send a message. And I heard Thierry say it before, and I actually understood now what he said. I'm a Real Madrid fan tonight. 100% I am. I want them to absolutely send a message to Benfica that there are things that go beyond football, right? And there are things that transcend someone's race, someone's sexuality, someone's religion. I'm sick and tired of society utilising these things, these differences that we have, and thinking to themselves, these are things that I can poke and use in the sphere of sports. This is meant to be fun. This is supposed to be entertainment. When you're utilising someone's position or who they are as a person against them, for whatever reason, I don't care who you are, I'm against you tonight. And I usually sit on this desk and I'm completely neutral. We poke fun and we have fun and we be like, I'm an Arsenal fan and this and I'm from North London. I don't care. I'm a Real Madrid fan tonight. And I hope Real Madrid spank Benfica. I hope they send them a message, and I hope UEFA come down and utilise this opportunity as a moment to send a message to the rest of sports, because this stuff doesn't belong to racists. It belongs to us as a community that care about it. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think there's going to be 2 things to watch in this match: is what happens in the stands with Madrid fans and on the sideline with Jose Mourinho, because the big elephant in the room alongside Prestianni is, kudos to Vincent Kompany for calling a spade and calling him out, right?
100%.
The big thing for Jose Mourinho is, if you would have asked 2 weeks ago Real Madrid fans who one of their favorite managers of all time would have been, most of them would have said Jose Mourinho. He still has good standing for Madrid fans. Maybe not for some former Madrid players, but amongst Madrid fans, he's revered. I don't think there's a single Real Madrid fan, on planet Earth right now that sees him in any good standing, and it was an embarrassment what he said. And, he can do whatever he wants in terms of taking press conferences or whatnot. On the field, though, this is Vinny Jr.'s moment to really, really change the narrative around him.
Word.
I see a player who, in the wake of Kylian Mbappe's struggles, is taking the team by the scruff of the neck, right? And saying, follow me. I'll be the difference maker. Under Álvaro Arbeloa, he's been clutch. I watched the game against Osasuna. Him and Fede Valverde were the only two players who showed up, and Courtois as well. Those three willed the team to even be in that game right now. And so matchups are everything. We talked about the first leg. That matchup between Vini and Didic is one to watch. I thought Vini, the likes of Carreras, the likes of Camavinga, they have something good going on the left-hand side. And then on the right, Trent and Fede, they have a great partnership. So on the flanks is where I think this game will be won and lost for Madrid.
I really like what you said. I know we've got to go to break, but I have two leaders on my arm for a reason. I have Martin and I have Malcolm up here, and remind me every day in terms of what you have to go through. But then I think about some of the people that have paved the way, and I immediately think of Muhammad Ali. Now, I'm not trying to compare what Muhammad Ali went through to what Vinny's going through, but Vinny seems to be going through a consistent basis of abuse because of his race. Let's just be honest about it. So tonight is your moment to stand up in your Ali stance and then go out there and remind the world as to why you're one of the best players in the world, period. Forget all the stuff that's happened. Just go and demonstrate as to why you smile and why they dance and why everybody sings your name. And it's an opportunity for your fans to get behind you as well. So I'm a Real Madrid fan tonight, so are you, and hopefully so are you. And I know you are, Hannah Cash, too.
Of course I am. Yes, well said, gents.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.